Hey everybody, welcome back to the Print 3D channel. Today is March 27th, and that means day 86 of the 3DP 365 project. And on today's episode, we continue printing out parts for that Open RCF1 project, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back, and thank you for joining me here for day 86 of the 3DP 365 project. Today we continue printing out parts for that Open RCF1 project, and we've moved on to some of the smaller parts. If you want to get caught up on where we are in the printing, check out this cool playlist I created. It'll get you all caught up on everything we've done so far. And on today's episode, we printed out a bunch of little parts for the RC project. First thing we need to do though is head over to Thingiverse, and I'll show you which parts we decided to print for today. Then we'll tab over to Simplify 3D and I'll show you my settings for the prints. Then we'll meet back here at the workbench and we'll talk about these prints. Alright folks, here we are back at Thingiverse for the Open RCF1 2017 project. And we are printing a couple of different sets of parts today. Today we are going to print these barge boards. These are these pieces right here. We're also going to print these little clamp pieces here that clamp the whole body together. And we're also going to do some of the suspension pieces. So I'll show you what we're printing. So these are the barge boards. These are part of the 2017 updates, and there's two of these, so you need to print two of these. And then there's the suspension pieces, and there's the upper and lower, so we're printing both of those. And from the original setup are these little clamps that Daniel made to hold the lid piece on, and we'll be printing two of these. There's one for each side. So let's tab over to Simplify 3D, and I'll show you my settings for these prints. Alright, so here we are in Simplify 3D, and I've created a factory file for each set of these. And the reason why I'm printing these separate is I'm trying a couple of new settings, and I'll show you what those are when we get into the settings. So for the barge boards, we did run some support because you're definitely going to need it underneath these. So let me show you my process settings. Under layer height, we did a 0.2mm layer height with 3 top and 3 bottom and 3 perimeters. We also ran a brim by entering 0 in the skirt offset at 6 outlines, just to make sure those little pieces that actually sit on the print bed are attached and stay flat. We also used 50% infill on this, and the reason why I'm doing this is I wanted these things to be as solid as possible. And I've discovered a few new things, and we'll talk about those at a later date. But first, let's keep moving on here. We did generate some custom support material. For temperature, this is MatterHackers PRO PLA, so my temperature is 208 throughout the print. And I have my 3-stage cooling system set up, and we ran out these parts at 40 millimeters per second only because they're pretty small and I just wanted to make sure they came out perfectly. So let's hit prepare to print, and I'll show you how these sliced out. And these little pads are all that's holding the model down, so you definitely need support through here. And as you can see as I play these through, you definitely need support. And these are some pretty easy prints. So let's back out of here and I'll show you what I've been testing. Under my retraction settings, I've been having a lot of problems with little spikes, and also I enacted the coasted end and wipe nozzle on all my previous prints. And I've noticed of late that that is causing a little bit of layer skip, because I actually think that these things might be causing more harm than good on certain prints. Not all prints, but certain prints. Definitely on small objects or areas where the print nozzle has to raise up and move over and drop down and do that repeatedly. So small areas of printing, this coasted end and wipe nozzle, that actually caused a little bit of layer skipping. So I've turned those off, and I've also turned down my retraction distance down to 0.8. And the reason why I'm doing that is because pulling up too much material and doing multiple retractions by touching in multiple places was causing my extruder to skip because it was giving it too much work to do. So anyway, I've changed these a little bit, and that's my settings. So let's head over to the next file that we're going to print, and that would be the front boom and the upper and lower front boom. And I believe these are just suspension pieces. I'm not exactly sure what BOM or boom stands for, but these are the suspension turning pieces. These are part of the main turning of the front wheels. And we printed both of these. These are separate pieces. We printed them both together. And then we also printed, what are they called again? The turning vanes. And these are the little clamps that hold down the lid part. So these were pretty important, and I wanted to print these, and these only took about an hour to print. So anyway, let's head over back to the workbench and let's talk about everything we printed. All right, so you saw my settings in Simplify 3D for everything that we printed. And the first thing we printed out were these little barge boards. And I'm not familiar with Formula One racing, so I'm not exactly sure why they're called barge boards. But these guys turned out awesome, and they printed standing up. And they printed it out with just a 6, I think, outline brims to hold them up. Plus we had some support material underneath here because this is a curved area, and I didn't think the bridging would actually survive that. But either way, these guys turned out awesome. The next parts we printed out were these 2 suspension parts, and these guys turned out pretty great too. Now I printed these both at the same time, just like this on the print bed. And the first one, the one in the front, turned out perfect. There are no problems with that whatsoever. But on the second one, the one in the back, it looks like I had a little under extrusion problem, or the lines weren't completing. Now I'm not exactly sure why that happened, because they were both on the print bed at the same time, so they should have turned out exactly the same. But either way, I'm really happy with these prints. I'm not going to reprint them. These are the suspension parts. These are parts of the drivetrain area. These, I think, turn the wheels. So both of these parts are good to go, and I'm really happy with these. And then finally, we printed out these little clips, and these are the ones that hold the deck lid down. And these go from the bottom of the chassis part up onto the deck lid. And these little guys turned out perfect. I don't have any problems with these. They just need a little bit of cleanup, and then they're good to go. So besides a little bit of an issue with the top layer on this particular part, I would say all of our parts turned out pretty awesome, and I'm really happy with the results. And my gMax did an amazing job on these two because they were standing straight up in the air. And I really love this MatterHackers Pro PLA in the color of gray. I like how it looks, and it's going to look really cool on our finished model. Well, that about wraps it up for day 86 of the 3DP 365 project. I hope you guys are following along and building your own OpenRC F1 cars too. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share those videos, and I'll see you tomorrow.